सबने लक्ष्मीकांत स्पेक्ट्रम बहुत बार पढ़ी होगी बट एक बार में कुछ याद नहीं होता है. So our purpose of note making is to retain information. Sometimes you will feel that if you look at a question, you know the answer, but all the points are not coming in your mind. Nothing is going to happen with 2 or 3 revisions. You need to revise your notes at least 5 to 7 times. So notes is basically a compression mechanism. हम books को अपनी understanding में छोटा कर रहे हैं. We'll be going into a comprehensive note making process that I followed, and I kept it very simple. I made my base notes once and I revised them 2 or 3 times. With this process, what we want to do is we want to take that I know this to I am confident in writing the answer in 7 minutes. A sample note that I had made. So this is about air pollution. This is directly taken up from the article that came in Indian Express. So I've just made short notes of it on my own. How did I use AI for note making? It was not for note making, but good afternoon, everyone. So we'll be going into a comprehensive note making process that I followed, and I kept it very simple. I made my base notes once and I revised them 2 or 3 times. I am not a person who made multiple short notes. If you think that strategy works for you, please follow that. So let me ask you a question. All comfortable in Hindi and English both? Okay. So सबने लक्ष्मीकांत स्पेक्ट्रम बहुत बार पढ़ी होगी बट एक बार में कुछ याद नहीं होता है. So our purpose of note making is to retain information. That is the main reason why we are making notes. So I will be going along these lines. First, why do we need to make notes? Then the concise notes matter. As uh, he just said here that we end up making our own books while making notes. That should not happen because our goal is to minimize on our time and maximize on our marks. Then I will tell you what dimensions you can follow to make notes. I think this point will be the favorite of most of you, role of value addition. Then I will also integrate how to add current affairs to your notes so that you can get more marks potentially. And even when you're making notes, you will see कि हर subject का अलग-अलग weightage होता है. तो we should spend that amount of time जितने question उस subject से actually आ रहे हैं. Don't spend unnecessary time on that subject. And I will be following you through to GS3 syllabus. So basically हम GS3 का template लेके notes making का करेंगे. Last is I'll just show you a sample note that I have made of air pollution so you can get an idea how you can minimize your notes. And आप उससे और भी छोटा notes बना सकते हो. Okay, so the first point is volume management. So basically, I think most of you would have been studying for at least 1 or 1.5 years if you are taking this attempt or planning for the next attempt. And you will see that we have 4 GS papers. So it will become very difficult if you would not make your notes because at the end day, you cannot revise the entire thing. You need to have a very short, crisp, some pages that you can revise very quickly and you can actually implement that in your exam paper also. So notes is basically a compression mechanism. हम books को अपनी understanding में छोटा कर रहे हैं. Then second point is committing content to memory. You also must have noticed जब हम लिखते हैं किसी चीज को तो हमें ज्यादा अच्छे से याद होता है. So that is also one purpose why we are doing this ताकि the information stays with us for long. Third is the point of personalization. So there are many people who I'll speak mostly in English then. So there are many people who tend to go after somebody else's notes because people might think it might save on time. But my philosophy is that it is better if you make your own notes because your notes are your understanding of that subject. You will understand in a very different way compared to how any other person will understand based on the language you use, what you think is more important in a particular topic. So basically, if you try to use somebody else's notes for almost all subjects, for some subjects it is recommended. For example, world history, where we know 4 or 5 topics are more important than the rest. But if you try to use somebody else's notes, it's basically you have lost on the effort that you had to do, and that would make it easier for you to remember the information. Then the point number 4 is multiple revisions. So see, nothing is going to happen with 2 or 3 revisions. You need to revise your notes at least 5 to 7 times so that even when you're writing, firstly, you will encounter this problem that your speed of writing is greater than the speed at which thoughts come in your mind, the other points come in your mind. But we want to move to a position wherein the speed at which our points are coming in the mind, that outpaces how fast we write. Okay, because again, the same rule of mains that for 10 marker you have 7 minutes, for a 15 marker you have 11 minutes. Then the last point is exam readiness. So basically, by exam readiness, I also want to talk about linking topics across GS papers. So for example, if I take the topic of climate change, if we only go through the PDF, the syllabus PDF, you will think that climate change is a subject that should only be studied in GS3. But climate change also has dimensions in economy because there is a financial cost of climate change. Okay, then we also have it as an environmental problem that is very natural. Then we also have its linkages to disaster management because climate change is impacting the intensity of disasters. And disaster management, you'll also see questions in paper 1, GS1. All right. And then if I have to link IR with this, we have conferences like COP, UNCP, UNEP. So these are the international relations portion of the topic of climate change. So try to think across papers. Don't limit yourself to only one subject per paper, but try to see how freely you can use whatever information you compile. So now the point about concise notes. So see, has anybody of you given any FLT or half length test? Tried writing it? So sometimes you will feel that if you look at a question, you know the answer, but all the points are not coming in your mind. Very common. So with this process, what we want to do is we want to take that I know this to I am confident in writing the answer in 7 minutes. That is the basic funda. Now, coming to the first point, usability factor. For anybody who has tried to make notes in the first time, you will feel everything in the book is important. And if you use a highlighter, you will end up highlighting 70 to 80% of the book. We don't want that. So, you need to, again, study the topic properly. And if you cannot understand it on your own, go for any classes that might help you understand what is more important versus what is less important. And even when you are writing an answer, you know that if you write the least important point as the first point, you are likely to get a low score as compared to if you write the most important point first. Okay. So that is the point of usability factor. Write only those things in your notes that you can actually replicate in the exam. Don't be under any FOMO that this new article has come or this material is out and I just need to add whatever I can in that. Then I've already talked about the word and time limit constraint. So third point is about marks maximization. So see, for any question that we face, be it any open-ended question or any close-ended question, open-ended would be one statement and elaborate or elucidate. Close-ended would be what is climate change, what are its causes, what are the international mechanisms that we are involved in to deal with climate change. So in the first question, you have to yourself come up with the subparts. In the second question, the subparts are well defined. Okay. So what will happen? You have to start with the correct conceptual framing. Either start with the definition or give some context. So, for example, last year we had a in 2025 we had a question on the Paris climate deal, and it marked the 10-year anniversary from 2015 to 2025. So you can use this as an introduction that recently, since 2025 marks the 10-year anniversary of the landmark Paris climate deal, and then link it to whatever the question is asking. Second point here would be use of examples and data. Now, data point, try to use it from official sources, be it official government reports, some articles or information you can find in PIB. This is what you will try to integrate from the current affairs you read, be it the monthly magazine or the newspaper. If you can read the newspaper, that would be better. And in terms of examples, why do we use examples? Because it shows that we have a clear understanding of what is happening and we can link it to a concept. Like in ethics, you create a list of examples of different civil servants, different people who are doing well in their field. Because through their example, you might be able to show that this is what empathy means, this is what honesty means. So the same goes here. Then third thing that you can use to maximize your marks would be government policies and government schemes. Because again, the aim of the government is to alleviate the distress of the people. So they have different schemes have objectives, and through those objectives, the government is simply trying to solve a problem in the public domain. So you can use this. And lastly, you should have a balanced way forward. So, suppose you are being asked, usually the question is framed in such a way that you are asked that this is the problem, what are its causes, and what can be the potential solutions. So, since all of us are aspiring to be administrators, we should have a solution oriented approach. So, in the answer, I would suggest that you can try writing some sort of solution or global best practices. For example, we know that around Diwali and the winters, the AQI peaks up in the NCR area. Okay, but then if you had followed the newspaper, you would see that there's something called the Beijing model of tackling air pollution. So that can become both an example or a case study. And if required, you can also use it as a conclusion to your answer. Now, one more point. If any of you faces problem in minimizing your content, you feel that everything is important, I can't leave anything. So you can try this exercise. If you are reading the newspaper, you will see that we have editorials that come daily. Whatever editorial is relevant, try to read it and summarize it into 100 to 150 words while keeping the meaning intact. Try to do this exercise daily, and I am sure you will see improvement over time. This is one thing I can suggest. Now, how to make notes. So, see, the again, we are making notes so that we're able to write good answers and in such a way that at least all of our PYQs are covered. Because there is a very large linkage between what the exam is asking and what has already been asked. So, if you cover the PYQs, you have at least 80% of the content ready, and you will be confident that I can answer any question that comes up. For the new 10 or 20%, sometimes if you have odd questions, they will be new for everybody. So there's no need to be apprehensive. But for the current affairs bit, especially when it comes to GS2 and GS3, please follow the newspaper. You have the mains compilation that comes before the mains examination. You can follow that for any institute. And especially for GS3, if you have the time, try to go through the economic survey, because a lot of themes that are repeated in the economic survey, they end up coming as questions. In 2024, there was a question on Udan scheme, and that was directly taken up from the economic survey. So there is a correlation here. Now, coming to the components of your notes. So, as I told you, we want notes that we can easily replicate. So, we will also try to make them in a manner that looks like an answer. So, suppose you had to start an answer, it can be a definition approach, but that is very basic and that won't really work in every question, especially in GS2 and GS3. If you feel that that is the only thing you have, you can go ahead with it. But if you can use some data point or some fact about it, then that will make your answer better. So, in today's editorial, you would have seen that RBI has increased the inflation expectation to, I think, 5.6%. If I were simply to write that RBI has increased the inflation estimate for this year, that would give an idea that, okay, I know. But if I can write that data also, that from 4 point something, it has reached to 5 point something, that shows greater awareness. And just think of it from the point of view of the evaluator. It looks good in an answer copy because you are seeing words, words, words. But when you see a fact or data, it shows better awareness. Then, done with the introduction part, either data or some fact. Second point comes the significance of the concept, or why does that concept matter? If I take the example of inflation, so we know that inflation, it affects all our key monetary decisions. Then it is also the policy indicator, because from inflation, all the interest rates, they are designed. Then it also affects consumers because it impacts our purchasing power. Then if you are in the services, if any of you have ever worked, you know that there is a dearness allowance, DA. So that is also affected by inflation. So these are different impacts of the same concept. So this is how you need to create a list of 7 to 8 significance or impacts for any topic. Then the next point that comes here is the challenges posed by anything. So it can be the challenges or the problem caused by it. If I talk about inflation, what are its challenges? It can be the problems caused by air pollution. Then you can do a sectoral analysis. It has social impact, mental impact, economic impact. So try to categorize it as broadly as possible. And then we come to measures or solution for it. So again, uh, it can be whatever the government is saying. If the government has constituted some committee for it, for example, you must have heard of the Ashok Dalwai Committee in Agriculture for doubling farmers' income. So you can directly use their recommendations. You do not need to go in-depth detail to read the report, but take up 4 5 points from that and just say that according to XYZ committee, this is what needs to be done to solve for this problem. Okay, that is one way. Then you can also use global best practices. So, global best practices is the example that I gave you of the Beijing model to tackle air pollution in Delhi. So, what some other countries doing very good? For example, Estonia is very good in digitization. That can become a solution for in GS2 governance. So, you can use AI very freely to come up with a list of global best practices and something innovative that is being done that will reduce on your time. The last point is about use of visual element. So visual element here would mean it's either something like a flowchart, it could be a diagram, or you could just suppose you have very little time left, but you want to add more number of points. Just make a sort of circle in between with the heading and some arrows pointing out of it to cover the points. But this will also come with practice. So don't be that person who experiments in the exam hall directly. If you want to use any diagrams, so please incorporate it in your notes and then you can use it. Coming to sources for value addition, I think largely I have covered it, but these are few sources that you can follow. And please complete your core content first. That will form 80 to 90% of your answer. And you need to just sprinkle this 10% additionally. So don't spend a disproportionate amount of time running after current affairs or the newspaper. It is important, but it is not at the cost of your core content. I'll just keep on giving one example for each so that I think the understanding is better. So, see, for data statistics, I just told you about the RBI data. So, actually, the RBI has revised it from 4.6% to 5.1%. So, if you can use these exact figures or even approximate figures, that shows better understanding, better awareness. Coming to another point about data and statistics, you must have seen that in GS3, we have internal security. And within internal security, LWE becomes a topic, LWE or Naxalism. And questions frequently asked that show how the impact of LWE has reduced. So, for that, um, I'd already suggested this, but you can go through PIB explainers. So on the website of PIB, you'll see the government in its monthly articles publishes comprehensive reports of any topic that it chooses. So if you go to the PIB backgrounder of LWE, you'll see how it has reduced in terms of number of casualty, the number of districts affected, And you'll also see what all steps has government taken. Earlier, there have been question on a multi-sectoral approach to tackling LWE. So you will see there has been a people centric approach, the administrative approach. How can we engage civil society? So that will be able to answer most parts of your question. Then you can also use government schemes and current achievement. So in economy, we have the concept of inclusive growth. Inclusive growth also is an extension of financial inclusion. So for financial inclusion, you can use something like 55 crore Jandhan accounts have been opened by March 2025. So this is how you can use it. Then key reports and indices. So you will see that the commission has a tendency to ask questions from newly released reports. Last year, we had a question on HDI versus IHDI. Everybody knows about HDI, but IHDI was a newer concept for many. So just be aware about that. And I think we all know uh, Oxfam number in terms of inequality. So you can directly use that data, and in the bracket, you can also write the source. Then for committee recommendations, for example, for in economy, we study fiscal policy. We have the NK Singh Committee, FRBM Act. Then for data protection, we study B.N. Sri Krishna Committee. So try to use it as far as possible. But again, it's just a sprinkling on top of the dessert. It's not the actual content itself. For examples and case studies, you can also follow the website Better India. It's on LinkedIn also and online also. It posts best practices that is being followed by different sectors of society, be it civil servants in different areas, or be it corporates and NGOs that are doing very good. So I think that will add a unique element to your answer. So many people also, the Better India. So many people also ask what medium of notes you should follow. I mean, what medium should you use for making notes? So I used a hybrid mode. So my base notes were made on my laptop because I find it easier to search and update the material. If you are comfortable in writing everything, you can follow that. Or you can also follow a mixed mode wherein what I did was before the mains, because you need to have certain data committee points handy because you will revise that over and over again just before you're writing the paper. So I had just made a note of every committee or every example in a keyword format that I wanted to write across GS papers. And I just used to go through it before writing the exam. For core content, I had already done multiple revisions directly from my notes. So I did not feel the need to make multiple short notes. So, this is what I wanted to tell everybody when I said do not spend a disproportionate amount of time on any one topic. So, if you will see that Indian economy, including agriculture, it comprises of around 45 to 50% of your paper, GS3. So, I would spend most of my time here rather than spending most of my time in disaster management because the return on investment of your time that is too low. So here you'll see Indian economy has the highest weightage, then internal security because annually at least 4 questions are being asked. Then you'll see science and technology. And in science and technology also there is a pattern. It is usually the latest current event that has happened that is going to be asked. So uh, I think last year it was about ITER and carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So these are things that have been in news for a long time, and we study it for prelims also. So basically, you need to put that information to words in these questions. And I think for environment, we had a question on the COP climate summit. So that was also because it was an anniversary year. In in GS2 also you will see that if it's an anniversary of some case, suppose I think it was the 50th anniversary of Keshwananda Bharati or some very major case, and they asked the question about basic structure doctrine. So there is a direct correlation here. And when you are studying disaster management, I would also study geography for GS1 and environment together because questions are usually interlinked. You would have questions about flooding. Flooding is something you also study in geography. Okay, then the disaster management aspect of it is how to handle floods. And you can directly take guidelines from NDMA and replicate that, or we have the disaster cycle. So you can follow through on that. So before this, I also wanted to talk about current affairs. So see, current affair is only going to be a trigger for the question. It is not the entire question itself. For example, in GS2, we had a question on what is meant by preemptive pardon. Compare the pardoning powers of the president of US and India. So if you were following the news, and this was a very large news, so it was very well known. Just before stepping down from the post, former President Joe Biden, he had granted preemptive pardon to his son. And in GS2, there is a topic of comparative constitution, and usually questions from US, UK, and France are asked. So it was an expected question. It is asking you about static material, but the trigger for the event is a current event. So that is how you need to integrate current affairs into it. So I'll just show you a sample note that I had made. So this is about air pollution. Instead of writing my own definition, it is better if you can take it from some credible source, like WHO is an authority. So you can quote it. I think it gives an edge to your answer. It depends how you want to define it. You can do it in either way. Then, in terms of data, since there have been questions on CAQM in the past, so Delhi or NCR situation, it becomes pertinent. So I had a point on that. This is not updated, so when you make your notes, update it accordingly. So I have given you multiple options, but ultimately just keep two or three and try to memorize them and see how well you can use it in the examination. Then suppose if I can just make a small diagram telling what are the different air pollutants. This I will do after I feel that I have enough time to write my main content, because this is not the main content. But this is just something that will help me revise both for prelims and mains. Then again, causes. So here you see I have divided it into different categories. There is social factor, how air pollution is impacting these factors. And cultural practices, this will be a part of society, but it also impacts a scientific process of air pollution. So again, creating a cross linkage here. This will be the geography link on air pollution that I was trying to explain earlier. Then we come to the impact or the significance of that topic. So this is a basic topic I think most of you would be knowing. I'm just showing you how you can make your notes in an easier format. Here you'll find that one topic has multiple points, but that is just for your understanding. Try to have as many variety of points rather than just having one heading and multiple points under that. Now, this is something that is unique. So usually you don't think that air pollution has a disproportionate effect on gender. This might not be very commonsensical to many, but if you can add something like this that is unique, that will also give your answer some edge. And if you have some study like this University of California study, which shows how it is affecting women, so that also gives credibility. Otherwise, I can also make something up and write, but if I can take the support of an institution, that will give me better marks. And all of this has largely been taken up from the newspaper. Then we have challenges. So if this is a challenge, that becomes its solution. So you'll see many articles were coming that is it only because of government inaction or is the public also responsible? So I just added this dimension on my own. So here I've compiled a list of what different countries have done to tackle the problem. Just remember one or two, that's more than enough. This is directly taken up from the article that came in Indian Express. So I've just made short notes of it on my own. And this actually also helps during the interview preparation because especially if you're Delhi, if your home state is Delhi or you're from the NCR region, it becomes a recurrent topic since the interviews start around that time. So this is usually expected that a person should know this. And since Delhi is the capital city, everybody should know this. Then way forward. So this is how you can potentially end the answer, that these are a few things that we can do to tackle the problem of air pollution. And see, this is a point from agriculture. If we talk about EV, it has linkages both in economics as well as science and technology. And then just have some sort of a conclusion ready. For GS, I would suggest that you have some introduction and conclusion ready so that you don't have to think too much. You can just copy paste whatever is relevant to the question. So, largely, that was my note taking approach. And I think now we can have questions. तो स्टैटिक पार्ट जो हम प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ते हैं, तो मैंने उससे यूज़ किया। गूगल वाज़ नॉट माय सोर्स। आई हैड एनरोल्ड इन अ कोर्स। सो जो मैंने उससे लिया था, उससे मैंने इसको यूज़ किया। That is taken from newspaper. So in newspaper, you will see sometimes they have good information in smaller sections, the global page. So try to see what you can use from it. Newspaper is a very good source for value addition that you can use. So, see, I did not really make notes for prelims because you are reading the book. if you can just underline, write in the margins, take a post-it note, and just re-revise that topic again and again. If you start making notes for prelims, I just find it lengthy. If you think you will have better retention for it, then go ahead. Maybe for some subjects like history, because history is factual and we tend to often forget it, you can make a timeline based notes. For example, in modern India, you will understand ये movement हुआ था, उसके बाद ये हुआ था, this is the cause, this is the impact, just to give you a good understanding. Otherwise, largely, I did not make notes for prelims. Even for current affairs, I used to follow the newspaper. Newspaper also didn't make notes for prelims, but I used to read the monthly magazine. I read the monthly magazine for 15 months before attempting prelims and just underline or highlight in the monthly magazine itself and keep on revising from there. देखो हाँ, देखो ऑप्शनल में पीवाईक्यू ज़्यादा रिपीट होते हैं, पर जीएस में आपको बहुत कम बार दिखेगा कि एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन रिपीट हो गया। वो क्वेश्चन थोड़ा-सा बदल के आएगा। तो हम पहले नोट्स बनाएँगे और हम नोट्स को पीवाईक्यू के हिसाब से बना रहे हैं, ताकि हमारा जो भी पीवाईक्यू में पूछा गया है वो सब कवर हो जाए। आप पीवाईक्यू दे रहे हो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप पहले पीवाईक्यू दोगे फिर नोट्स बनाओगे। उल्टा प्रोसेस है ये। समझ आई मेरी बात? ओके। पहले नोट्स एंड नोट्स देखो कि कितने पीवाईक्यूज़ को कवर कर रहे हैं। सपोज़ आपने बिना पीवाईक्यू देखे नोट्स बना लिए, पर आप सिर्फ 50% पीवाईक्यूज़ कर पा रहे हो, तो आपकी मेहनत ज़ाया गई ना। तो हमको ऐसे काम करना है दैट हमारे पीवाईक्यूज़ भी कवर हो जाए नोट मेकिंग में और हम जो न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन है, मतलब जो कोई करंट इवेंट हो रही है, उसको भी ऐड कर लें। नोट मेकिंग फॉर ऑप्शनल, उसमें भी सेम स्ट्रैटेजी है। आई थिंक बाय मैक्सिमम दिस इज़ बोथ फॉर जीएस एंड ऑप्शनल, आपके नोट्स शुड बी रेडी बाय दिसंबर या लेटेस्ट मिड जैन। एंड इफ नोट्स आर रेडी दैट मीन्स रिवाइज भी करना है उसको एक बार और एटलीस्ट टेस्ट भी देना है। अगर एफएलटी नहीं तो सेक्शनल देना है प्रीलिम्स से पहले। ओके, एंड व्हाट डू यू डू राइट नाउ? ओके, सो हैव यू स्टार्टेड रीडिंग द न्यूज़पेपर? ओके, few days. So, see, I feel newspaper will help you in multiple ways. ठीक है, newspaper is not only going to help you in prelims and mains, but also in the personality test. If you read the newspaper consistently for at least 1 year, there is a rhythm to the newspaper also. If any event happens, it's not that you will find that event, you will not just find every month some new event is happening. Sometimes the event will recur also. For example, SIR is a topic that has been in news since past 1 year, and even till date, you are finding articles about SIR. So, firstly, I would encourage you to read the newspaper. If you feel that is not something you can do right now, monthly magazine I used to follow basically for prelims, because prelims has factual questions, and in monthly magazine you will find both the static as well as the current update about any topic. And if you will see, even in prelims, the trigger will be a current event, but they'll ask you static questions. Example, in 2024, they asked about the ethics committee, and we all know why that was in news. But the question was about static portion. It was not about the incident itself. So I think if you feel like going for a course in current affairs, you can maybe take some demos, try reading the newspaper, go through the monthly magazine also and see. Yeah. No, so see, I did not make notes of the newspapers with the purpose of recalling content of the last 1 year. If I'm taking something from the newspaper, it will be just some data or some fact or some example. And if I feel I have two, three good examples, two, three good data points, even if some new event occurs, I will not end up writing that in my notes because I already have sufficient notes. So, this is a practice of self restraint you will have to develop, because we'll feel that हम ये भी ले लें, वो भी ले लें, but then you will keep on adding to your notes. And our goal is to make very concise notes जिसको हम revise कर पाएँ और हम वैसे लिख पाएँ prelims mains में. We need to, if you are thinking of starting the newspaper, your aim should be to finish it within 50 to 1 hour, 50 minutes to 1 hour. Hmm. Reading plus extracting, because every day there will not be so much content that you can extract. And don't get into the mindset that you need to add everything every day to the article or your notes. Suppose you'll go through the newspaper of 1 month, you will see there are 9 to 10 main events that are happening, and the articles also keep on revolving around that. Because एक कोई इवेंट होता है, तो उसकी बिगनिंग होती है, देन इट पीक्स, फिर उसका कंक्लूजन आता है। तो न्यूज़पेपर आर्टिकल्स भी उस तरह से आपके आएँगे। हाँ, तो वो रिपीट हो रहा है तो फिर आपके नोट्स में वो बढ़ना नहीं चाहिए ना। So, how did I use AI for note making? It was not for note making, but the value addition part. Suppose if I want to find out the global best practices of, let's say, digitization, or there is some, like in the air pollution case, what different countries have done to tackle air pollution. I would just type into AI that give me a list of 5 global best practices on this topic, and in a tabular format. So it'll tell me the country, what that country has done, 2, 3 good points. So I can either use that as a solution that, we can follow this method to tackle that problem. Yeah, फिर I can also show that this country used this to solve this problem, and we can also implement the same. So AI was used in this way. Mayur has asked, should we do note making during first reading or after a couple of readings and post checking PYQs? So, what I would do is, suppose I'm starting any topic, let's say inflation, I'll go through all the PYQs that have been asked. You'll see how food inflation is impacting the economy. You'll see different questions on inflation, be it purchasing power or anything. So there will be different subheads in the topic of inflation itself. So before reading the material, I will go through the PYQs both for prelims as well as mains. And then after I've done at least 2 or 3 readings, then I would make my notes, because in the first reading, you have to understand the concept first before you start taking notes. My strategy for GS4 was also very straightforward. So you have a very well defined syllabus and you have multiple keywords. I wrote the definition for all of them. Then I took up examples from websites like Better India, and you'll also see that the government gives away Padma Awards. So you can take people who are receiving those prestigious awards, see what they are doing, because there is going to be some or the other link with ethics in all of their actions. You can use that. And for the case studies part, if you go through all the PYQs in case study, you will find that there are 7, 8 themes that keep on repeating again and again, be it workplace harassment, corruption and administration, or something about a disaster happening and how to tackle that. So there are those 7, 8 themes that keep on repeating. So for each theme, I just made a standard template that if this has happened, this would be my approach. And you can also add global best practices in this case also. So last year before mains, the unfortunate Ahmedabad airplane crash had happened. If you were following the newspaper then, you would see that this like XYZ international agency is investigating the case. Then these are the laws that are required. You will hear terms like black box and other things associated to the aircraft. If you use that directly, I think that shows a better understanding. So just follow the current events for these things and just take notes from that. Ancient medieval art and culture. So the best part about these subjects is that once you've studied them for prelims, you can use that information directly for mains. My sources, you're asking? Okay. So in terms of sources, I have studied multiple books because it was my third attempt. So I have studied R.S. Sharma also, Satish Chandra, Tamil Nadu NCRTs, Bipin Chandra. So I have multiple sources. But then when it comes to answering mains questions, for fine arts, you need to study that fine arts book. Okay, NCRTs you should go through. For history, you can also study NCRTs of 7th, 8th, 9th. It will not take that much time. because especially for medieval, questions are asked from there. 11, 12 definitely is important. And then when it comes to fine arts, only 11th and 12th relevant portions. So NCRT is something you need to do, and then just make your notes according to the PYQs, because there will be some focus on, let's say, temple architecture, the Sangam age, some particular literature that you will not be able to find entirely in one book. So you will have to search on Google or refer to some compilation. They'll have information at one place. You can do that. Like we have a topic of robotics also, but the questions on that haven't been asked. I think there's hardly been one question. You can do that, but the thing, I think there's also a problem in that. So see, if you have just written you're revising in a question answer format essentially, right? So suppose if you see a question that is similar to the PYQ you've done, even if the question is asking something different, you will feel the urge to write the answer you have written in your notes directly. So you will miss the demand of the question. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? So I feel if you can categorize the PYQs, what exactly they have asked, what dimensions they have covered, and then you make your notes, you will know that, okay, if this question is asked about the causes, I will write only the causes. Otherwise, suppose if you started with impact or the consequence of the event in your notes, you will have a tendency to replicate it, because what happens in mains, you don't have much time. So जो भी दिमाग में पहले आता है आप वो लिखते हो. So we don't want this to happen. We want that we stay relevant to the demand of the question.